What's happening, guys? Christopher Ohms here. Today, we're going to check out a coil that is one of my favorites. Um, of course, I'm going to give you a little history like I always do. Um, First of all, a buddy of mine, Dominic, is getting 5 sets of my coils, and he wants what I consider to be my best. Well, his resistance that he vapes at is 0.08 ohms. And man, that was my wheelhouse for years. That's for a couple of years. That's pretty much what I built between zero 0.08 and 0.10. So uh, I definitely got some coils for him. But one that came to mind is a dual core SFC. Um, Deceptively difficult if it's not done right. Again, it's staggering. If you don't do your staggers right, it's gonna be a bitch to fuse. Um, so I went along for years with this loop method, this weighted loop method to stagger, where I'd loop a wire around my finger and around the core wire, hold the spool of wire in my hand, and that's how I would stagger. I picked that up from Squid Dude. It wasn't the best method, definitely not the most consistent, but it worked for me for a time. So when I thought of these 5 best coils that I wanted to send him, this one definitely made the list. It's 24 gauge cores, 38 gauge fuse, and it was the first coil after fuse Claptons. I got fuse Claptons down, did some parallels, of course, and some twisty stuff, things like that. And this was like my first. Okay, let's try and start being a builder. And man, it didn't work out well. So I put it aside and went to frame staples. Um, those were tricky too, but I got those down and came back to this because people were asking for staggered fuse Claptons. They were all over the place a few years ago. So I struggled with the way I staggered, and I got them made, and they worked great. Um, and it went on like that until I figured out parafusing. Well, actually, Matt Millen told me about parafusing and force Claptoning, which force Claptoning, as you guys know, is what I use big time all the time. So I want to build 2 coils, 3 wraps, or 4 wraps around a 3 millimeter bit. Now, usually like 16, 18 inches for your staggered frame and fold it in half is pretty much good for most things. With these, because they're just a dual core and I'm folding it in half, that fold's got to stay because that's the only way I can attach it to my swivel. And I'm sure there are other ways out there, but I'm pretty sure most of the ways out there, even if you cut the frames and use 2 of them, I'm pretty sure that they're all going to bind at the end. So this used to frustrate me, and I would end up having to build coils, a single coil at a time for these, which is really unnecessary because it would bind up at the end and I couldn't get enough for two coils. Um, then, in this remarkable moment of you dumb shit, make the stagger longer. So that's all I do. That's why I use about 24 inches to stagger your frame for your single stagger. Fold it over in half. There you go. That'll be plenty of frame to get 2 coils out of, get 2 4 wraps out of it. So that's all I did. I made my staggers, um, 1 piece staggered and folded over. And I sit here like today, never thinking I'd be like, I never thought I'd be doing any kind of videos showing how people how to make coils or how I make coils. Just never really occurred to me. Because I look back and I'm like, how stupid I was with so many things that it's kind of arrogant to think that I can show anybody anything. Okay, so You got your frames through your swivel side. Let me slide you guys over a bit. You got your frames in your swivel side. Grab them over here. Get your toothless pliers and just bend them. Don't freak out when stuff like that happens. Just keep going. Go ahead and slide it through my drill side. And bam. Now, when you stagger multi-core stuff, like 3 cores or more, it's a slow process. Anybody who's tried it knows. It's definitely a slow moving deal, because you want your fuse wire to go in each stagger. So you get magnification, you look, and you go real slow, and you try and get that fuse wire in between each stagger. That's how that works. I tried that with dual cores when I was trying to figure out how to build them, and it just didn't work for me. That's what I call it, grip it and rip it. I get my fuse wire started and I just go. So, like I said, I staggered 38. Now, if you can do a single Clapton, you can do this build. Because if you can do a single Clapton, you can do a forced Claptoning to make your staggers. If you can do a single Clapton, you can run this stagger. Now, what's going to happen is it's just going to go, and it's going to go real nice, and then it's going to start binding up down here. And you'll see that's where the fuse will start screwing up. So, you want to keep at least 90 degrees. If anything, you can go to the swivel side a little bit. You don't want to back. You don't want to back wind these too much. It seems to affect the staggers in a really negative manner, meaning you can fix it and come back out of it, but then the staggers that you backed over, they look kind of like shit, so you don't want to do that. Okay, so I'm set, and go. Okay, it hasn't screwed up yet, but it should start. You should start seeing it from backing up that the stagger is going to want to jump and skip. There we go. And it's just that simple. Now, you can take because they're gonna twist. Just that's all. It's all there is to it. They're gonna twist a bit. This didn't come out too bad at all. I know you really can't see it, but so you can take your toothless fires and hold it and twist everything straight, or you can run it through a pasta maker, which is what I intend to do with these. So that's it. That's a staggered fuse Clapton. That one went really smooth. The faster the better. Let it get those staggers seated in nice. And this is an amazing bait for you single cell mech lovers. You're gonna love these coils if you throw a set in. Hey, that's it. I really appreciate you guys watching. I'm not sure what's coming up next. We'll do something fun next. Any comments, any questions, put them in the comments. If you like it, cool. Didn't like it, hey, that's cool too. I just appreciate you watching. Peace, guys. Thanks.